If you'd like to sponsor a TSP television broadcast, we've got a Patron page for that. Sponsorships start at just $1 a month. Visit patron.com/TSP television and make a pledge for premier Twin Cities sports coverage. And we welcome you to Pony Stadium for high school boys soccer. No introduction required. It's number 1 versus number 2 in Class 2A. The unbeaten Stillwater area Ponies take on the unbeaten Minneapolis Washburn Millers. The Millers at 3-0-2. The Ponies on a 7-game win streak. Officially, they are 8-0-1. I'm Mike Beaton, all by myself, talking to myself again. But this time we have the luxury of a press box and a setting sun, so it won't feel quite as hot. But again, heat and humidity will be a heavy factor in this matchup between the two teams. Stillwater, as you know, second last year in Class 2A. Minneapolis Washburn, the number 2 team. Their 2 draws came against Eastridge, a top 10 team, and Minneapolis South. They had a runaway win over Egan, a top 10 program, 7-1. And Minneapolis Washburn will go to Wayzata next Thursday in another big matchup. Stillwater, if they can get through Minneapolis Washburn, their next biggest opponent would be Eastridge, but given the amount of wins that Stillwater has on their resume, they are in good position to take the 1 seed in their section. Stillwater wearing the black and red kits, Washburn wearing the white kits. If you watched our coverage on Valley Access channels 2 days ago, Stillwater defeated Roseville 4-0. One of Roseville's players, Aaron Coe, got a red card after taking 2 yellows. And the bottom fell out for the Raiders. Now, because of the heat and humidity, akin to the girls' game with Cretin-Durham Hall and Matamidi, don't be surprised if we take a mandatory water break at the midway point of each half. Again, that is a requirement put in by the State High School League in the event of high temperatures and high dew points. Now, here's a guy who has a cannon, Spencer Scott. We saw this in the Roseville game. Those throw-ins almost put it in. The ball still loose, and Washburn able to get the clearance. But Spencer Scott, high velocity on those throw-ins. If he can throw in the ball on the opponent's side of the net, it's almost like a corner kick. Now Washburn on the run. Here's number 35. And that ball is sent away.
Corner kick by number 35, Ty Benjamin.
Had a roster clarification. Number 35 is Ty Benjafar. But Race Johnson able to stop the Washburn threat. Logan Huber leads the team with 10 goals, part of the vaunted Huber family in the sport of soccer, with Lexi, his sister, and Mike, his father, the head coach of the girls' team. Spencer Scott, 9 goals and 9 assists on the year. He scored a pair in the win over Roseville. We had a foul on the Ponies, so a free kick coming up from Jorge Ray Martinez, number 6. This is deep. Race Johnson calls for it. It's almost like a fair catch in football. But Race Johnson takes care of it. So in a couple of early stress tests for Race Johnson, I would say he's passed with flying colors. But we have a long way to go. Didn't get a lot of playing time last year because he was stuck behind an All-State recipient at the keeper position. Not so much this year. Isaac Barnhill, the keeper for the Millers. Washburn has plenty of soccer history between the boys and the girls. That is their strength. And 36-35 is left in the first half. Another throw-in coming up for the Ponies. That means Spencer Scott will get to showcase his cannon. Looking for Gora. And Isaac Barnhill able to get the stop. Washburn looking to counter. Ben Jafar, he's stripped from behind, and a foul will be called. Free kick, and Washburn opts to pass to a teammate there. A little too deep for a direct strike. And there's Jamison Charles, number 10. Gora has speed and acceleration in his arsenal. You'll see a lot of that. At least that's what Jake Smothers is hoping. Gora didn't record a goal or assist in the Thursday win over Roseville, but he set up a lot of attacks. Washburn trying to get something going, and the pass was a little too far, and that will be a foul on the Millers, as Logan Huber was harassed a little too much in the eyes of the referee. A hot and humid day in September, and outside of a few breezes, it feels more like mid-July than mid-September. But this time next weekend, we'll be trading the shorts for light jackets. Another foul on the Millers, as Benjamin Snyder was tackled from behind. Now a Washburn player was slow to get up. Official checks in to make sure he's okay. That's Sam Fritsch. Minneapolis Washburn. Stats not entirely up to date, but Ty Benjavar, number 35, a player to watch with 5 goals, 2 assists. Darley Florville, number 8, another one. So those are going to be the two guys who will try to finish off attacks for the Millers. And for Stillwater, they've got the big 3. Here's Benjafar on the left side. Takes a shot to Johnson, and Race reads it all the way. The big 3 for Stillwater: Logan Huber, Spencer Scott, and Gora. Ethan Kilmer scored a goal Thursday in the win over Roseville. And Max Stauffer has 2 goals and 3 assists. So Stillwater has some other options, but they've got a vaunted trio, and that's one reason why they hold the number 1 ranking in Class 2A and have done so all season. Minneapolis Washburn at number 2. Non-conference game, but you see the enthusiasm, the hype surrounding this matchup. There was a bit of a line heading into Pony Stadium. You know, this isn't a sport that draws football-sized crowds, but for a non-conference matchup, this is quite the test. Race Johnson catches that one. Jamison Charles, his pass was a little too far for Haitham Aziz. We've had a few stragglers, but this is one of the bigger soccer crowds I've seen for a regular season game. Stillwater trying to move the ball upfield. And they are unable to, well, not directly. They will have a throw-in. And Gora will concede that responsibility to one of his teammates. Logan Huber found Spencer Scott, but he was trapped in a double team. Temperature was close to 90 degrees, and the dew point near 70. Again, with the sun setting, that will provide some relief, but it's a sticky one. Needless to say, anyone working this game, myself included, putting in some sweat equity. The things we do for sports coverage and for paychecks. Abe knows what I'm talking about. Another deep pass. Race Johnson with a big stop. And he didn't have much time to respond. There was a Washburn player chasing that one all the way. Chester Hearn forcing the turnover. And Ben Jafar collides with a couple of Stillwater players. The ball goes out of bounds. Sam Fritsch to throw in. Jamison Charles was looking perhaps for Nick Katzman. And here's Max Stauffer. Benjamin Snyder wasting little time on the throw-in, hoping to hook up with Spencer Scott. Spencer has it, but lost his footing, wanted a foul. And Washburn letting it roll out for a goal kick. And now we have an official stoppage with 29:53 left in the first half. For what, I'm not sure. Stillwater's one draw came against Eastview. You know the story by now. They trailed 3-0. Could have checked out. They didn't. Rallied back to salvage a draw. Eastview boys playing the Cretin-Durham Hall boys today. And speaking of number one, the number one team in Class A, Matamidi, fell to the Cretin-Durham Hall Raiders as they pick up their second signature win in the span of less than a week. Gora looking for Spencer Scott. Might have been offside, but Isaac Barnhill makes that a moot point. And now plays that midfield. And a foul on Stillwater, so they will not be able to set up, or I should say Washburn, so they cannot set up an attack. But this Stillwater team, talented, versatile, plenty of options. Washburn bringing a sizable student section to this game. And a few of the parents are here as well, from the looks of it. And we've got some Stillwater fans here too. I'm not sure which side has more. As far as the student section goes, I think Washburn has Stillwater beat by a 2-1 edge. And the student sections are having a little fun here. Well, Abe's enjoying it, and the two of us could certainly use it. Here comes a throw-in from Spencer Scott. And the reason I say that is, well, for the first time in a long time, we've been free to cover some fall high school sports. The Minnesota Lynx knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. Seattle Storm completing the sweep of the Washington Mystics a few days ago to win their third title.
Washburn
Which is probably bad news for your relative in Seattle then, because now you've got to put up with a year of taunts. Relative comes to town tomorrow, so he'll have to put up with it in person. Here's Spencer Scott, forces the takeaway. Look at him move. Oh, couldn't keep up with it. That'll give Washburn a chance to set up their defense. And they get the clearance, but Jorge Ray Martinez effectively concedes a corner with that arm strength of Spencer Scott, as he's right in that sweet spot. Watch this kid throw. Right to the net. Oh, Gora had it. And it went off the crossbar. Tries to get a second shot. Couldn't get the placement down. And Washburn escapes with no damage. Now they look for a counter. Ben Jafar, he's chasing it down. It's a foot race. And it's won by the Ponies. And they prevent Washburn from getting a corner kick. They will get a throw-in, though. And Ben Jafar will put it in right away. Ben Jafar tripped, made contact with Eli DeJong, nothing called. We've seen both teams display their agility. Race Johnson's already had to make a couple of plays at the net. Stillwater having their first quality chance. Gora hit the left crossbar. Fancy footwork by Sam Fritsch. And we'll have our first corner. It will be Ty Benjafar doing the honors. Here at Pony Stadium in Oak Park Heights. Good header by a Stillwater player that sends it right back to Ben Jafar. Now he has to do something with it with no help, and he cannot. I believe that was Max Stouffer who made the play off the corner. And now we're getting our first set of substitutions. You may see substitutions more frequently than usual with the dew point as it is. Again, even with the sun no longer a factor, it's still muggy out there. And Stillwater making some subs as well. Now Race Johnson will put the ball in play. Chest stop there by number 9, Carson Arco. We'll work on names and numbers as we move along. There's Fritsch. Here is Darley Florville. Had to look for a moment. Isaac Lebens England, 13. Making his first appearance, Jamison Charles. Cross to the far side. Gora with the pick. Looking for Spencer Scott, but Washburn is there to seal it off. Huber's got to be careful. There's a Washburn player right behind him, and Huber elects to kick it out of bounds to give the Stillwater side a chance to form up their defense. Joe Blitz. That's not a misprint. That is his name. Joe Blitz will throw it in. 23 minutes remain in the first half. Header, Race Johnson with a diving save. I believe that was Brian Fuentes with Washburn's best look of the night. Washburn getting a little more time on the attacking end of the field. Stillwater, they've had one quality chance from Gora on a well-placed throw-in by Spencer Scott. Gora close to making it a 1-0 game, but he hit the left crossbar. And this is a situation Stillwater hasn't seen in some time. When you look at some of their results, they had a 2-1 win over Cretin-Durham Hall. But outside of that, in the draw with Central, they've had a lot of convincing wins. 4-0 over Rosemount, 3-0 over Parker Cottage Grove, 6-1 over Cedarburg, and 4-0 in the game that was televised live on VAC TV against Roseville. Stillwater scored all 4 goals in the first half against a Roseville team that was emotionally disorganized and total disarray after the send-off on Aaron Coe. Roseville playing Minnetonka tonight, another top 10 team in Class 2A, but this is the game that will determine who remains number 1. If Washburn wins, they'll take over. If Stillwater wins, or if we have a draw, the number 1 and 2 spots will probably stay the same. Foul on the Millers. It will stay Stillwater ball. Or I should say it will stay Washburn ball on the Stillwater foul. I'm still getting my sense of direction sorted out. Although, Abe, I don't think I've yet to figure out where I'm going. Free kick for the Millers. And this is a boomer. Race Johnson has to catch up to it before Lebens England good job by Johnson. Lebens England was right there at point-blank range. But Race Johnson playing on his heels a bit. The Stillwater defense having some difficulty against the Washburn penetration. But this is why you schedule opponents like this. These are the games that both teams will learn a lot from. Stillwater with the takeaway, and it rolls out of play. Washburn ball. Under 20 minutes to go, and no stoppage yet for a water break. Again, we had that in our daytime games. Perhaps with the sun setting, that may not be an issue. Don't be fooled, it's still muggy out there, but the effects are no longer amplified by the star that is the center of attention in our solar system. We call it the sun, but it's no different than any other star out in our universe. And plenty of stars here at Pony Stadium. They may not get the recognition that football, volleyball get, but there's an audience out there. And here's the Millers taking a shot. That's wide left. Washburn calling for a deflection. They won't get one. Interesting choice there to take another shot attempt, but we've seen Washburn as the aggressor in the first half. Washburn the aggressor. No foul call. We play on. Some chippy play on the near side of the field. Gora. Dumping it off to Max Stouffer. Spencer Scott with a little behind-the-back flare to Chester Hearn. Hearn gets that under the legs of number 15, Vilas Stoppelman. And Stillwater hoping to set up for the first time in a while. And they'll have a chance to with a foul on Benjafar. So a free kick coming up for the Ponies. And it will be Logan Huber, who scored on a free kick in the win over Roseville. It was just outside the box. It was the foul that led to Aaron Coe's ejection as he picked up a second yellow. As you know, 2 yellows equal a red in this sport. Formation is set up where it looks like Logan Huber will try to find somebody in that scrum. Stillwater with an opening, and a Washburn player gets a deflection. Ethan Kilmer had an opening for a minute, but Sam Fritsch, I believe, intervened and deflected that ball. But Stillwater will get another set piece here on the corner from Chester Hearn. Now, the Stillwater team, their continuity was in development at the start of the season with a lot of inexperienced players, but I'd say they picked up on it real quick. There's the bicycle. That free kick by Hearn may be a little too far. So a couple of chances for the Ponies. Washburn survives another threat. While we wait the goal kick, I'll remind you that if you want to support a TSB television broadcast, you can do so on Patreon, patreon.com/TSB television. Several pledge tiers are set up. You can get your name in the credits. You can have the opportunity to join me in the booth for game, and we have some other perks as well. Patreon.com/TSB television. And every dollar collected will go to continued coverage of high school sports, Minnesota Lakers basketball, and my work in the WNBA. So patreon.com/TSB television. Feel free to check it out. And we should point out that some of that high school sports coverage is right here in Stillwater, part of my ongoing partnership with Valley Access Channels, and one of the biggest games of the season. Throw-in coming up for the Ponies. You know what that means. Header! Save by the Washburn goalie, but it goes behind the net. Looks like that was Ben Schliemann. An acrobatic save by him, but Stillwater will get another set piece via the corner. Schliemann with a brilliant save nonetheless. But Chester Hearn will set up again. But the Ponies turning the tide, now getting a chance to set up some attacks. Hearn. And that kick deflected by the Millers. Looking for a counter. And they won't get it unless Benjafar can track that down. He can, but they won't be able to get a odd man advantage here. Brian Fuentes sending it over to him. Washburn will get a corner. And if you wonder why we hype corner kicks so much in this sport, success rate is pretty low, but set pieces are often the best opportunities for scoring chances. So Ty Benjafar will put it in play. It's a dribbler. Nobody caught it. And that shot goes wide left. A Washburn and Stillwater player both came at the ball and they leaped over it. No, that was a game of chicken where nobody won. Or nobody lost either, I suppose. Bicycle from Gora Gora trying to find Spencer Scott. But Washburn hanging tough with the number 1 team in Class 2A. And you hear the crowd, again, the Washburn student section, perhaps outdrawing the Stillwater contingent, but decent-sized crowd. And this is one of the matchups everyone circled on the calendar. Oh, that was a close call on the part of both sides. Washburn had a chance if that pass was on target. That could have gone in for a header. But both sides and the soccer community understand the significance of this game. You know, this is the game. Not only will it determine who's number one, but it also will have sway if both teams make state. As you know, the coaches seed the field 1 through 5. I'm still hopeful they'll do 1 through 8 someday, but here comes Washburn. And Stillwater bats it away. Corner kick, though, coming up for the Millers. I'm still hopeful we'll see a 1 through 8 return, but you know how things are. Nobody's feelings want to get hurt. And then again, I'm just a 31-year-old curmudgeon. Or maybe I've watched too much college where there are no random draws. Someone's got to be a 16, and hey, you know, that didn't bother UMBC. That's all I'll say about that. Fuentes. Shot attempt from behind deflected. Washburn trying to get set up and get the ball in front for a clean shot at the net. But Washburn again winning the possession battle. Stillwater having a couple of chances, a couple of moments, but Washburn the more opportunistic team. And their ability to sustain possession on the attacking end of the field is going to make things tough for the Ponies. It's been a first half defined by dazzling saves for both keepers. Race Johnson for the Ponies and sophomore Ben Schliemann for the Millers. Goal kick coming up for the Ponies. Less than 10 minutes to play in half number 1. And this could be one of those games where one goal may do it. With both sides equally competent, equally talented, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 1-0 game. Because the ability to react and counter makes it so tough. You have to have a perfect position. You have to be in the right place at the right time, as the adage goes. It's finishing that conversation. Maybe someone watching this. I know there are some folks that would like to see a return of 1 through 8, or in some sports, seeding the entire field. Whether or not we'll get there, who knows? Ben Jafar. Cross went right to him. Ball went a little bit behind, and Washburn, Nick Katzman playing a little box out to set up a throw-in. So it looks like we won't have any water breaks because of the setting sun. Again, that decreases the effects of our summer-like weather. Throw in by Blitz. Header and a whistle is called. A foul will be charged to the Millers. Stillwater escapes another threat. It's been the theme of this first half. Both teams escaping several threats without any consequence. Still tied, 0-0. That's 0-0 for the folks unfamiliar with soccer terminology. Big matchup, number 1 versus number 2. We'll be back at Pony Stadium next Saturday on September 22nd for a boys-girls doubleheader. The Stillwater boys will host Minneapolis Southwest, and the girls will host Lakeville North. Should be a fun one. Washburn, oh! Katzman lost his footing. Stillwater can't capitalize it, though. Schliemann Fields it harmlessly, rolls it out to one of his upfield players. And we haven't had much of a chance to see Gora's speed on display. The header. And there might have been a handball. Joe Blitz had to stop on a dime. Had it not been for the deflection, I believe, by Jonathan Kramer, Blitz may have been able to receive that pass in stride. Who knows what would have happened then. But we resume. And Washburn will take over. But not before a couple of substitutions. Perhaps someday this sport will see crowds that rival that of American football. We know the popularity is rising exponentially. Minnesota United getting a new stadium, Alliance Field, befitting of their status in MLS now. No longer do they have to settle for the National Sports Center in Blaine. Their temporary home, TCF Bank Stadium, a marvelous facility in its own right. Alliance Field, I'm sure will get high props. The World Cup, both men and women, draw more attention with each successive tournament. And a little bit of confusion over who will take the free kick for the Ponies. Less than 5 minutes to play in the first half, and it looks like it will be Chester Hearn to put the ball in play. And I don't see anyone nearby for a potential trick play. Interesting move here. Usually Logan Huber's the one who takes the free kicks. Header, just over the goal. Spencer Scott, right idea, just a little too much air. Another close call.
So our substitution number 16.
And we're back in action.
Logan.
Both the boys and girls teams will be here to play Forest Lake in what will likely be a pair of relatively comfortable wins for the Ponies. And then they have a match with Woodbury, which should provide some fireworks and theatrics. And Jonathan Kramer making a heads-up play to bat the ball away and force Washburn to throw it in, because Washburn once again had the potential. We've seen a lot of potential plays. A few have developed, but so far neither side has found the net. Just over 3 minutes left in the first half. This is Alex Converse. And another throw in for the Millers. And a foul on the Millers. Stillwater wasting no time on this free kick, and I don't blame them. With 2.5 minutes left. Washburn opting to send the ball away, figuring that a Spencer Scott throw-in is less hazardous than him making a move on a defender and having a shot at the net. from his position, and I can see why. Not quite able to get it on goal. Looking for a target. And Washburn able to keep it in. They get the clearance. Stillwater will throw it in, but nice job by the Millers to prevent a corner kick. Chester Hearn will throw it in this time. Huber with the redirect. Now the Millers have it on the run. Just over a minute remains in the first half.
1 minute.
Race Johnson with another stop. As Washburn takes a parting shot. And you never know. You wonder why do folks take a shot when the goalie can read it. You never know when the keeper might be obscured by a teammate or another offensive player. As anyone will tell you, in hockey and soccer especially, keep taking shots at the net. You never know when you'll get a break that nets you a goal, less than 30 seconds. Chester Hearn with the takeaway. We haven't had any offside calls in this one. Everything's been onside, although neither side has been able to get any breakaway attempts. And Stillwater, well, we're going to have a Washburn player's down, and officials will have to stop play. There was some confusion, uncertainty about the status of the game. Washburn player, I can't make the number from here, but he is able to return to the bench, so it doesn't appear to be anything serious. Stillwater will have a few seconds to try to do something. Spencer Scott winds up. There's that deep throw of his. The ball ends up into traffic. Washburn bats it away harmlessly. And the first half ends the way it started, a scoreless draw. Both teams getting several chances at goal, but Race Johnson and Ben Schliemann are exhibiting tremendous value, minding the net. Another Washburn player is down, and the official is calling for the athletic trainer. We'll take a break and bring you the second half, and we'll see if we can get a status on the injured Washburn player. You're watching high school boys soccer. The Millers and the Ponies in a scoreless draw.
If you'd like to sponsor a TSP television broadcast, we've got a Patron page for that. Sponsorships start at just $1 a month. Visit patron.com/TSP television and make a pledge for premier Twin Cities sports coverage.
Mike Pete and all by myself talking to myself. Stillwater and Washburn in a scoreless draw. In a battle to determine number 1 and number 2 in Class 2A. Well, Abe and Carlos have picked up some thirst quenchers, also known as Gatorade.
And hot dogs.
And hot dogs. Well, because as we all know, water sucks. Gatorade is better, right? Now they picked up on the reference. If only Ted were here to pick up on some. I usually like to make fun of him, but he's not here. He's at home, probably enjoying himself. While I'm here with number 1 and number 2 in Class 2A. Sun is set. Night is taken over. And apparently there was some sort of violation on the face-off, so Stillwater will get a free kick at midfield to start the second half. Logan Huber will put it in play. This is a deep one. He was looking for Kilmer. And that high lob will go off the crossbar from Max Stover. We got some geese flying overhead at Pony Stadium. I don't know if that's what the fans are cheering about, but flock of geese were flying over. Although, given the way the weather is, perhaps I don't think they'll begin their migration just yet. Carlos got the geese because we know he's a real bird brain. And the line judge calling a foul there. And the official concurs, so Washburn will take over. And that couldn't be offside. That wasn't a passive play. Wasn't a passing play. Blah, 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 blah. That's all, folks. If I'm not careful, I'll trip over myself, verbally speaking. Who will strike first? Will anyone strike first? That is the question we hope to answer. Another deflection by a Stillwater defender. That has been a theme of this game. I believe Logan Huber got in the lane. We've seen a lot of that. Washburn trying to set something up, and once again, Stillwater. It's a foot race. Ben Jafar wins it, but didn't get a great ball, and Race Johnson scoops it up. Who will come out on top? And as we noted, if this game were to end in a draw, 1 and 2 would likely go unchanged. But that is a possibility. With the way these games go, we noted Washburn and Stillwater, they both have draws. Stillwater salvaging a draw after going down 3-0 against Eastview. Final there was 3-3. Washburn with a pair of draws, one against conference rival Minneapolis South and another against a top 10 program in Eastridge, one of the perennials in the state. Stillwater has reached the state championship in the last 2 years. They won in 2016. Ben Schliemann makes a diving stop. Stillwater won in 2016, finished second to Wayzata last year. Got a few hockey crossovers as well. We noted Logan Huber and his acumen, something Jake Smothers appreciates because he doesn't have to go over as many drills, with Logan already having the background knowledge. Spencer Scott benefiting Gora Gora by giving him some open looks, open opportunities, and Spencer Scott, even with so many players that converge on him, a dynamic player. He can score and he can set up a goal as well. A great facilitator. Race Johnson races out to catch that shot from Jamison Charles. Again, that has been the theme of this game. Both sides able to get some looks. The difference has been the keepers. Both of them coming up with big plays. We saw some great saves in the first half, including that leaping stop by Ben Schliemann to prevent a Stillwater goal. Saturday Night Soccer, number 1 and number 2. And we see so many potential scoring chances snuffed out by the defense. And Washburn will dump it back to Schliemann for a reset. Washburn clears it away. There was a Stillwater player in the vicinity, but Miller's got there first. It's tough when you're the ball handler in this sport, because by virtue, you are slowed down, having to control it. But a throw-in coming up for Spencer Scott. Another deep one. No foul called. Washburn wanted one. A break for the Ponies. They'll hang on to it, and they'll get a throw-in on the attacking end of the field. Hunter Storman will concede duties to Spencer Scott, who is about to showcase his astronomical velocity. How do you not get tired? I suppose stamina a big thing, and there's a strong tradition of winning here at Stillwater. Now we're going the other way. Washburn gets a pass underneath the referee's legs. Alex Converse tried to catch up to it. Stillwater's there for deflection. A takeaway for the Millers. Might get a chance here, but Stillwater able to pinch them off. Jamison Charles breaks free. Centering pass off the mark. And that Fuentes knew it. Brian Fuentes knew he had a golden moment, a big chance to break this scoreless drought. And Fuentes couldn't put the right angle on it. Another escape for the Ponies. Again, that has been the theme. Both sides getting some quality chances. Washburn had a golden one on the centering pass to Fuentes, but he couldn't put it in. His shot went wide left. Stillwater, they've had a few chances as well. Ben Schliemann made that leaping save to keep this in a scoreless draw. We still have 30 minutes of regulation time to play, plus the potential for extra time.
Substitution, number 12.
Ponies make a substitution, and that'll give us a chance to remind you to check out patreon.com/TSB television if you would like to support our ongoing sports coverage as we continue our widespread expose or widespread exploration of the Twin Cities metro area and all the fine athletes they have to offer, including right here in Stillwater, thanks to my rapport with Valley Access Channels and their sports director, Ted LaRue. It's been a busy day of soccer here. Watched the #1 team in Class A, Matamidi Zephyrs, in girls soccer fall to Cretin-Durham Hall, a team that has picked up a couple of big wins. Header, and Schliemann keeps that one away. It looked like it would have gone out of bounds anyway, but Schliemann left no doubt. The Patreon.com/TSP Television. We have several pledge tiers set up. You can put in as little as $1 a month, and for a few dollars more, you'll have a chance to get your name on the credits, get some plugs, and even have the opportunity to join me in the booth for a game. I know, Abe, scary thought. Another Spencer Scott throw-in forthcoming for the Ponies. Looking for Huber, and that ball caroms out of harm's way. Washburn takes over. We mentioned the family ties for the Hubers here in the sport of soccer, with Mike being the head coach of the girls team. He told me he's probably one of the few that sticks around for both games of a doubleheader, because whoever goes first, well, if the boys go first, then he has to prepare to coach, but if the girls go first, as is usually the case, he'll stick around to watch his son play. Told me his daughter needs to work on her on-camera skills, and I imagine a lot of athletes struggle with that early on. They're not used to having a microphone and camera in their face. Especially when you have someone like me who pretends to know what I'm talking about, but in truth, I'm a real hack. Jamison Charles, no hack on his part, forcing the takeaway, and couldn't get the pass upfield, so Stillwater will send it back. And Schliemann opts for a reset, sends it right back to midfield. Thought he might have scooped it up. He was in the box, so he could do that. As long as you're in the box, the keepers can use their hands no matter where they are, as long as they stay within that 18-yard box. One thing's for sure, it hasn't been a boring night for either side compared to the Stillwater-Roseville game. Ben Jafar taken down, and a foul is called. And we may get a yellow. Yep, the referee is signaling. Looks like that's what's going to be. Yes. The referee was signaling for Hunter Storman. A yellow card issued to Hunter Storman in the 54th minute. So he'll have to go to the bench for the moment. And a free kick for the Millers. That foul occurred outside the 18-yard box. So a direct free kick is what the Millers will settle for. It does stop the clock. And when you see the official throw up the axe to the score operator to stop the clock, that usually means a card is coming. A yellow card issued to Hunter Storman. One more and he'll be sent off. We saw that 2 nights ago with Aaron Coe. And that propelled Stillwater, or helped propel Stillwater to a 4-0 win. Coe made a couple tackles from behind. That fired them up. Charles for the free kick. And that sails past everybody. So the yellow card and the free kick are of no consequence for the Ponies. And we play on. Washburn hangs on to it, though. They'll throw it in a game that has been defined by so many close calls. And now a foul on the Millers. Concedes a free kick to the Ponies. Night has fallen. Sun is set, but a night-lit sky offering little relief for a stretch of summer-like muggy weather. Again, the high got to 90, maybe a couple degrees higher on the official temperature. Dew point in the upper 60s, close to 70. It's been a tropical day throughout the Twin Cities metro area. Much cooler up north. Spencer Scott, another big throw in. That one looked like it could have gone in, and if I remember the rules correctly, you can score on a throw-in. It was deflected by a Washburn player, so a set piece via corner kick. Chester Hearn will do the honors, as usual. Chester Hearn with 3 assists on the year. And he won't pick up his 4th there. Here's Nick Purdy. Looks like it will be another corner for the Ponies, but not before a series of substitutions on Washburn's end. Nick Purdy, as we've said a couple of times in our prior Stillwater coverage, an athlete who plays bigger than he is. Not afraid to get physical. A referee at the youth level. A guy who will play almost every minute. Purdy with the cross. Header. Wide right. I'll say this, I've been impressed by the student section that has come out, and it looks like, okay, now everyone's standing on the Stillwater end, so they have a little more than Washburn, but everyone understands the importance of this game, and it's rare you see a student section of this magnitude come out to a soccer game outside of a section or state tournament round. But the regular season, usually you get parents, relatives, and a few diehards. Not the case tonight. Whoever got the word out, give yourselves a hand. But not an arm or a leg. Give yourselves a hand, give yourself a prop, give yourself a salutation. Or what's the lingo these days? Street cred? Goal kick coming up for the Ponies. You see what happens when I'm talking to myself? I'm calling these games solo. I have to come up with all of these witty one-liners on my own. That's extremely difficult, as Abe can attest to. I have no sense of humor whatsoever. Here comes Gora Gora, looking. And Snyder was there, but Schliemann just one step ahead of him. The things one has to do to amuse himself. A little different than Thursday. I don't have Robert making old school pop culture references, including one to Saturday Night Live and Chevy Chase. You may recall the intro, I'm Chevy Chase and you're not, on Weekend Update. I'm sure Abe does. "21 minutes Now 20 minutes, 53 seconds for the Millers as they get a throw in on the attacking end. Race Johnson plays the header perfectly from Sam Fritsch. We return to midfield, and the ball will stay in play, or not. It looked like Darley Flourville might have had enough, or did just enough to keep the ball in bounds. Line judge says otherwise. Nick Purdy over to Spencer Scott. Tried to tap it behind. And players sliding. Spencer Scott slow to get up. Clock is stopped, so we're going to get another yellow most likely. Either that or it's an injury stoppage. That's what it is. Let's see if the official does reach into his pocket. Doesn't appear so. So, common foul, free kick for the Ponies. A pseudo corner kick for Chester Hearn. You see Flourville scurrying into position. Hearn. Header bounces wide left. Are you astonished by this new headset, Abe?
Washburn substitution, number 35, Ty. Benyato and Unbeaten.
Ty Ben-Jafar back in for the Millers. He was listed at 7 in the program, but he wears number 35. One yellow issued to Hunter Storman in the 54th minute. Other than that, a slew of close calls, near misses, and some fine defensive play by the keepers. Race Johnson for Stillwater, not Jake Smothers, he's the AD, and Ben Schliemann for the Millers. Well, Jake Smothers is the head coach. Ricky Michael is the AD. I know what I'm talking about. Washburn. That ball will bounce, will stay in play, but Washburn has to reset at midfield. Washburn will reset. Snyder lurking just in case a mistake was made, but this is the number 2 team. Number 1 and number 2, mistakes will be few and far between. And if you're Jake Smothers for Stillwater or Aaron Percy for Washburn, I'm sure they told both their sides, if you see a mistake, pounce on it, but these two teams just don't give you those kinds of opportunities. Gora has to take a dribbler, not the look he wanted most likely, but that is a testament to the strength of both teams on the defensive end. They will not give you much. Ball deflects off a Washburn player, will stay with Stillwater. And before Hearn has a chance to throw it in, a substitution. Ben Snyder for Joseph Young. As we said, substitutions may be more frequent, even though the sun has set and temperatures, or at least the heat index, may have dropped enough to forego mandatory water breaks. It's still muggy out there. And so you'll see more substitutions than usual as a precautionary measure against the effects of hot and humid weather. Washburn with a throw-in. It's been a busy night for Joe Blitz in that regard. And he'll do it again. It's a good thing his name isn't Jack, or I might have dropped a Steely Dan reference. Blitz. Foul on Washburn. So 15 minutes. Left in regulation. And change. Washburn player goes down. Stillwater player sees if he's all right, helps him up. That was number 13, Isaac Lebens England. Even in the heat of battle, sportsmanship, no shortage of it at the high school ranks. Of course, one of the most iconic displays of the last school year came with Ty Kane of Mounds View, consoling one of his childhood friends who played for Totino Grace following the section championship. Mounds View was eventually dispatched by Stillwater in the quarterfinal round of the Class 4A state baseball tournament. And Stillwater would move their way to a championship thanks to the pitching power and finesse of Drew Gilbert, who will get one more year with the Ponies before he moves to the pastures of Oregon State. Free kick for the Millers, and that gets past everybody. Washburn wanted the call to go the other way, but to no avail. So it'll be a throw-in, but deep in the defensive end for the Ponies. Nick Purdy will try to move the ball up, and he'll do it again. You'll see this sometimes, not necessarily by design. If a team is up, they'll sometimes clear it out to eat up more time, but if you're the Ponies, you don't mind these deflections, even if they lead to repeated throw-ins, because you're moving the ball up incrementally. We talk about field position a lot in American football, but it can hold some advantages in this sport as well, even in an activity where there is no line of scrimmage and the ball is always moving. Unless it isn't. But a corner coming up for the Millers. It will be Nick Katzman. Ball goes up and sails past everybody again. As we noted, this is the kind of matchup where a low-scoring result would be expected. Number 1 and number 2. And when you look at the two teams defensively, Stillwater, they have 5 clean sheets to their credit. The most they've given up in a game was 3, and that was the second game of the year to St. Paul Central, a team that cracked the top 10 in the most recent poll, as did Eastview. Minneapolis South, no clean sheets to their credit yet. But in the case of Egan, a top 10 team, Minneapolis Southwest, they didn't need to worry about pitching a shutout. But usually when you have teams who have strong defensive cores, it tends to win out. As we said, it's going to take a glaring mistake, perhaps, to get a goal on the board. And we've seen both sides have some chances. The keeper's doing their job. Ben Schliemann, that leaping save might be the play of the game if the score does end up being a scoreless draw. And that, no foul. I thought there would have been one called, so it's a takeaway for Haitham Aziz. He barreled over Chester Hearn. Chance for the Millers. Deep ball, but it's deflected, and it will bounce harmlessly out of play. Folks up here thought a foul should have been called. And I think Nick Purdy was pleading his case, and I know why, because it was ruled off as Stillwater players, so Ben Jafar with the corner. And that bounces away. Jamison Charles catches up to it. Shot is wide right. And once more, we'd like to thank our partnership with Valley Access Channels, granting us the ability to syndicate the Stillwater games on Channel 15 and give all of you fans some extra opportunities to follow your favorite Stillwater High School athletes. And one of the finest facilities in the East Metro. Pony Stadium in Oak Park Heights. Gore trying to cross it. And Joseph Young was there, but once again, you've got to make precision passes. No, it's easier against a team like Roseville, a younger squad that has had some trouble with their chemistry, although they did pick up a big win over the defending state champion Wayzata Trojans. You've got two teams locked, loaded. They are well prepared. Strong soccer traditions. And when you have two equal forces meet, sometimes the result is a stalemate. Under 10 minutes to go. And this raises the possibility of extra time. Consequentially, if a team is able to score, as we said, one goal may be enough to do it. Kick! There it is! Washburn gets on the board in the 72nd minute. And leaping up in jubilation, Ottis Anderson, number 5. Unofficially, that is his 3rd goal of the year. And the Millers, now the front runner, they hold the catbird seat. If they can hang on, they'll take over the number 1 spot in the 2A rankings. What a shot by Ottis Anderson. As we were saying, it was going to take something of epic proportions to get a ball in the net. And we just got that here. Ottis Anderson scoring in the 72nd minute. And something must have happened on the face-off because Washburn is going to get a free kick. This one's deep. Right to Race Johnson. The goal is not up on the scoreboard. It is 1-0. Hopefully we'll get that fixed, but it is 1-0. The goal is not up on the scoreboard, but we can assure you Ottis Anderson did score. And as we were saying, 1 goal may be all that's needed to win in a game like this. But Washburn would love to get a second and get the clincher. We had an amusing moment there. Well, we've had a couple of amusing ones from Bob the last couple of days. On Thursday, we got a football game, and then we got a brief excerpt of the Thursday night match between the Ravens and the Bengals. Ben Jafar looking for the centering pass. Huber knocks it away. But we noted in the first half, Washburn winning the possession battle ever so slightly. And in the second half, Stillwater really not getting any quality chances. It's all been on Washburn's end. And you can imagine the Washburn fans are fired up. Race Johnson dives for the stop. So the goal went up, but it went on Stillwater's end first. The Washburn fans, let's just say, are highly attentive. This could be a momentous occasion for the Millers. It is a regular season game, so you don't want to get too caught up over one result before you get to postseason play. But a win here, and that would be a huge boost. And doing so on the road. You know, the soccer dimensions are the same no matter where you go, but road wins carry a little something special, don't they? Corner kick coming up for Nick Purdy. Stillwater has time, just over 5 minutes. Ball's loose. Ben Schliemann dives on it the way a football player would go after a fumble. Well, then again, this is football, isn't it? And we got some fireworks going off in the distance. Must be something perhaps over in Hudson or some festival in the Stillwater area, as you know. Triumvirate. Washburn, we know they're not done. Unable to sustain or develop an attack there. And that ball will go past everybody. Flag goes up. It was offside, but I don't think Washburn would have been able to do anything with it anyway. The ball was placed a little too far out. Washburn has yet to put up a clean sheet. And how exciting would it be to get your first one against the number 1 team and the runner-up in last year's 2A state tournament bracket? But there is still time. As you know, because we count down, there is no stoppage time. So Stillwater, they're going to have to push forward. No sense defending the net with 3.5 to play. They have to go on an all-out offensive to try to get the equalizer. And they'll have a good chance to do so here in the free kick. And it's worth pointing out, we've seen this in the last couple of days. Yesterday when I covered the girls' victory over Duluth East 5-1, there were 3 goals in the final 2.5 minutes. And earlier today, Paige goalie, or I should say one of her teammates, Ellie Manuka, scored a goal in the 40th minute. Right before halftime. Purdy on the free kick. Ottis Anderson is there for the header. The header away, that is. But if Robert Critter were here, my official partner at Valley Access Channels, you would talk about the need to take some gutsy moves on the part of Stillwater. They'll get a throw in here because they are running out of time. With just over 2 minutes to go. As we said, no sense hanging back. They've got to go all out if they want to salvage this game. But Washburn proving difficult to get around. And that's going to be Stillwater ball, much to the dismay of the Washburn fans. Again, there's not much time. Now we'll stay with the Ponies. And that's because a foul was called. So a free kick coming up. It's going to be Logan Huber. It's too far away. Now Huber is directed to assume position. Nick Purdy will put it in motion, but this is eating up valuable time. Stillwater fans urging him on. Gore absolutely neutralized in this one. Hasn't been able to set up anything. He had one good look early in the first half. That shot went off the crossbar, and with the goal kick coming up for the Millers, that might be enough. 1 minute, and you know Washburn will take the leisurely time setting this up. And they won't risk a deep ball here. Washburn looking for the clearance, and they'll get it. Washburn seconds away from their biggest win of the season. A statement win that would propel them to the #1 spot in the Class 2A rankings. Ottis Anderson, there's a grab by Purdy. It wasn't called. He reached for Ben Jafar's jersey. Takes over, but the ball rolls out of bounds. And with the ball in Stillwater's end, they're going to run out of time. Minneapolis Washburn, they know what's up. The Millers pick up their biggest win of the season. Ottis Anderson, the hero. And the same can be said for Ben Schliemann. The clock will stop for a few seconds. A yellow card was issued to number 10, Jamison Charles, but it won't matter in the context of this game. It might matter over the course of the season if he picked up his second yellow with that. But inconsequential, Washburn with their biggest win of the year. A 1-0 win over the #1 Stillwater Ponies. Washburn goes to 4-0-2. Stillwater, their first loss of the year, they fall to 8-1-1. The Ponies undefeated no more, and look at the Miller players. They are rushing over to greet their fans, and Ben Schliemann, he's going into the stands, and why not? He was clutch. Ottis Anderson came up with the clutch goal. An amazing performance on the part of Washburn. We'll try to get a word with Schliemann and Anderson before we wrap things up here at Pony Stadium. This is high school boys soccer. The Millers defeat the Ponies 1-0.
If you'd like to sponsor a TSP television broadcast, we've got a Patron page for that. Sponsorships start at just $1 a month. Visit patron.com/TSP television and make a pledge for premier Twin Cities sports coverage.
And I'm joined by Ben Schliemann and Ottis Anderson. Ben, I don't think there's a better way to pick up your first clean sheet of the season than against the #1 team in Class 2A.
There's nothing better at all. Yeah. It's good stuff. Thanks to this guy.
Well, Ottis helped you out offensively, but Stillwater didn't make it easy for you defensively, especially in the first half. You had to make some acrobatic saves. I know there was a free kick that you had to catch in the air. What would you make of Stillwater's attack, and how did you fend them off?
They're good for sure, and I think we just had a lucky day, and we were winning headers in the box and stuff, and it was going good. So yeah.
And on the defensive end, you guys overall won the possession battle. How were you able to keep Stillwater from sustaining their attack?
We just passed it around them for the most part and just kind of got the ball up and kept it there.
What does this win say about the potential for your team?
I think we could go all the way, but not trying to.
You've got 3 weeks and section, so like I think everyone knows this is just a game. But when you have number 1 versus number 2, what does that add to a matchup like this?
It adds a lot. It means everything, but you still gotta stay cool and stuff and stay calm and be ready to play.
And Ottis, it looked like this game might be heading to a scoreless tie. You changed that narrative with your impressive goal in the 72nd minute. How were you able to put it in?
I don't know. I just got the ball, and when he gave it back to me, I knew I was going to hit it. I let it rip, and it went in the back of the net. So
you knew all the way that shot was going in.
yep, as soon as I hit it, I knew it was good.
Well, I see you have no lack of confidence. Now tell me, this team, you've played well against some top contenders. You had that 7-1 win over Egan. You tied with Eastridge. So how do you think that prepared you against the number 1 team in 2A?
A lot of those teams we played, they've been really good teams, so they definitely prepared us to play Stillwater. But definitely the best team we played so far.
And this is probably the silliest question of the night. How excited were you when you knew that ball went in and you had the go-ahead goal, which you did end up with?
Yeah, I was definitely really excited as soon as I saw it go in the net. So I got pretty hyped, yeah.
And for the two of you, what would you make of the student section that traveled here? Ben, I saw you went into the stands, and Ottis, it felt like a state tournament game in that regard.
Yeah, I love them, all of them. They're good fans.
Yeah, definitely was high intensity in this game. And we knew it was going to be like that, number 1 team in the state, so yeah.
Well, if there's one thing about Washburn, they love their soccer. You want to say hi to anybody?
Shout out to my mom. It's classic.
What about you, Ottis?
Just shout out our fans for coming all the way out here. Shout out Ty for the pass. I didn't think he was going to play the ball. So that's it.
Ty Benjavar with the assist. Well, you have plenty to celebrate tonight. There he is.
I want to thank everybody who came out and Ottis for bearing it, Hey, we're out. We're at number 1, baby.
So, yes, Washburn, you will be number 1. We'll see how long you stay there, but no matter what, a big win, a lot to celebrate, and we'll see how this carries over the rest of the season. But congratulations on a well-fought victory.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was good. Thank you.
That was Ottis Anderson and Ben Schliemann of the victorious Washburn Millers. That wraps up our coverage here from Pony Stadium. For our entire crew, I'm Mike Beaton. Thanks for watching.